All right, welcome back everybody. So one thing you see online on the videos all the time, and it drives me nuts, is you'll see people taking this and they're scraping the floor with all this extra flake on there. All right, I would never ever do that, right? Yeah, it looks cool, it makes a great video. It looks so cool to be pushing this pile across, right? This flake is perfectly good. It is all still a 1/4 inch. So I don't want to do that. As soon as I do that, I now have 16th inch, I have 1/8 inch, I have every size in between 1/4 and dust now mixed up in here, right? So now if I collect this and I go to throw this on another floor, at some point I'm gonna grab a handful of dust or all different size particles and it's gonna land in my floor, and now I have an inconsistency in my floor. So right now, this is all the same size. It is consistent. As long as I lay it down consistently, it's going to be consistent, right? So, and I've done this. I saw the video. This is years when I first started, and I was scraping. I was like, man, this is so cool. And then the next job I had, I was like, oh, same color, cool. And I threw a handful of dust. I didn't even look in the bucket. I was just throwing it, and a handful of dust landed in a bunch of smaller pieces, and it just looked so bad. I mean, it was all the same color, you know, same patterns, but you could see there was something different about that spot. And my customer was like, what's that? What's wrong with that spot? And I was like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do about this? So what you do is you don't mix it up. So typically you take a blower. We don't have walls, but I would blow it all to the back corner, and then, hey Justin, you can grab me a broom actually. You blow it all to the back corner, and then you just scoop it up and put it back in the box. As long as there's not bugs in it and like leaves in it. If it's big stuff in it, you can just pick it out. You know, maybe a dust bunny flew into it or whatever. A lizard, you chase them out, or a spider. All right, so you just collect your flake. It's all the same size. Huh?
How long do we let the flake stay on before we scoop it up?
So this is aftershock. So I gave it like, I don't know how many hours has it been. It's been like 2 or 3 hours, something like that. Depends on what it is. So you look at your cure rate. So you look at the TDS, right? And if you want to, you don't have to meet your recoat window, but I would highly suggest you meet your recoat window. Technically, you are going to be bonding in and around and encapsulating this flake. So, I mean, if you want to be technical, you would have a mechanical bond per se. But in my opinion, every piece in between that flake that has material, whether it's poly or epoxy, whatever you got under there, and you'll see it here. You know, you smooth this across. You see all that shiny in there? All that shiny, it's not gonna have a bond if you're not in your recoat window. So why would you want all these little tiny spots in between your flake not to be bonded, right? So if you just meet your recoat window, then it's all bonded. And there's plenty of people, I mean, there's gonna be scenarios, maybe you get rained out or whatever and you gotta come back. I mean, hopefully it doesn't rain too much on your floor and then it's not ruined, but a little bit of rain, it's not the end of the world. You can dry it off with a blower. If it's some sprinkling or misting, it'll probably be okay. You'll have to make that judgment on the spot. And usually, so if we were to do epoxy, right, and we did go a little light, so you can see more of the base coat than you normally would. Normally you wouldn't even see this much. It would be more consistent. So I'm probably only going to collect most of this, and then we're going to vacuum up the rest and just kind of get rid of it. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, the corners. How do you get into the corners? So the grinder's round, right? You got these corners. You can use a multi-tool. I call it an oscillator. It's, you know, an oscillating multi-tool. There's these triangle blades you can get. They're like the Diablo brand, the carbide bit. Those are pretty good. And then there's like these gold ones you can get on like Amazon. And they have like little diamonds on them. Those are pretty good. When you are, yeah, either we flaked this super late or we just went way too thin. There's a lot of shiny in there. Yeah, I think I was talking too much. But yeah, so those triangle blades are great on the oscillator, but if you're doing a removal of some sort of coating, you're gonna gum it up. So you need to have extras of these on hand. But they're really good. So on stem walls, side walls, you know, under the drywall or whatever, wherever it is, somewhere you can't get with the other stuff, your big powerful machines, they're great. They're really good. Well, I actually didn't even finger test this yet. Probably should have did that before I walked out here. Probably should have did that. In a garage, it would be a lot hotter, probably. I think we're good. A push broom would be a lot better than this broom, but I also don't want to break up my flake.
A push broom would break up the flake.
It could, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be as bad as scraping the floor. That's definitely going to break up a ton of flake, and you don't want any of that. All right. But yeah, push broom it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I think we should have gone thicker. That's okay. You guys should see what it both looks like. Too thin, too thick. So it depends. It's a little more expensive if you're just buying the flake, but if you're buying liquids, you get a discount. All right. And if you need a custom color, that might have a little bit extra cost because we gotta have it made or whatever, have it shipped, custom order it and all that. But Meghan stocks all the basic ones like this. I don't know, it's like 16 or 20 main colors that pretty much everyone's using all the time. And also keep in mind, if you're using, so if you get a custom flake, not only should you charge more because you're having the special order and whatever and design the floor, you're never gonna use that flake again. Unless it's like a sports team and then you know, 2 years from now find the next guy who likes that same team and he wants to do that color on his floor because he might like it, but maybe he's like, oh, I'm planning on selling my house in a couple years or 5 years or whatever, you know, maybe the guy who wants to buy it doesn't like that team. You know, that makes it harder for him to sell, right? Or maybe the guy hates that team. That team beats my team all the time. I can't sell that to him. So a lot of people will do neutral colors. But if, let's say, Domino, or let's say Dollarite, right? This is Dollarite. So if you're doing, I think it's Dollarite. If I do the same, you know, 5 colors all the time, maybe I offer all 16, but I do the same 5, any reclaim, any good flake that I collect, it's just gonna get used. So I'm not stockpiling this massive amount of flake that I'm never using, right? And so therefore you save money. It's less I have to order on the next job. There's more money back in your pocket. Yeah, this broom's pretty awful, dude. This broom sucks. Ooh, did you see that? There was a massive piece of flake there. Big one. One that I guess didn't get broken when they made it. No, that's just a piece of trash. Well, I might have just broke it. It was like an inch big. It was a massive piece. Very rare. So now, if we went light, right, and there's a lot of epoxy showing, there's a reason that you pick certain colors and you don't do something crazy underneath, right? So if I have gray, black, tan, or white, it's pretty much what all of them are going to be. There's only like one I would do with white, and that's probably like schist, which is a predominantly white flake. Most of them, I would say, are probably going to be gray. There's a couple that are good with black, a couple that are good with tan. And you don't have to do Domino, for example. It's black, white, gray, maybe two or three different grays or something like that. I could technically do any of the above. All right, I could do gray under that. I could do black under that. I could even do white under Domino. All of those would look cool. but gray being the most neutral in the middle is what most people are going to do. But it is a completely different look. If there's any showing underneath, it's going to change the whole floor, right? So I've done that. I want to say it was, I'm trying to remember what flake. It might have been Domino actually, or Wombat. Wombat's like a darker, more medium gray. And I've also just done different grays. I've done light gray, I've done medium gray, and I've done like a charcoal under the same color flake before. Not the same floor, but different floors. And you get a different look completely, which is cool. Oh, thank you, sir. Yep, I'm probably gonna have to mute my mic here. Sorry, folks. What's that? Yeah, we'll vacuum that too. What's that? Yeah, you want to scrape? So when I scrape, I'm going to go down. Here, I'll do one pass to show you guys. Right? So I'm not doing this. I'm not gouging the floor, right? I'm going to hold it like this. Here, why don't we do that in a second? Let me go ahead and explain this part. I'm going to make a mess that needs to be vacuumed anyway. So what I like to do, I'll do it this way. So here's the door, right? Here's the back of my garage. It doesn't matter if I go this way first or this way first, as long as I go 4 directions. That is the best thing you could do. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, oh, there's a sharp piece of flake and the customer's not happy. What do I do? I'm like, well, or how did this happen? Did you scrape 4 directions? No, I only scraped 2 directions. I'm like, that's the issue right there. So you'll see a lot of people doing like this. It's not necessary. On certain coatings, you can do that if it's like super hard and it's super good. I find this to be perfectly adequate. I take my scraper, and I just walk. Walk down. I keep it at a good angle. If I need to, I'll usually have the weight of my arm pushing down. So I didn't do it just there. I'll go ahead and do it. I don't know why I was doing one hand. So the weight of my arm, right? Not pressing down a lot. When I get to this side, I'm going to keep my feet where they're at. I'm just going to go back the same way. Now, if there's a wall here, I'm just going to start out further, right? We're going to pretend there's no wall because this is a small area. Now, if you get caught like that, don't yeet it. See what it is. Like right there when that happened, I was just hitting the edge here. So I don't want to gouge my corner and mess up my frame, right? So typically I also stay off the wall a couple inches. Right? Weight of my arm. Ooh, what is that? Is it just a random flake? It's gone now? Good. And then I'll go back, right? Now, I'm going to switch. And I'm going to do the rest of the floor like this. Right? Now, the first pass you do, you're going to be able to see your line. Right? You can see the line. When you do, after you push that off, and you'll end up pushing most of it off the edge or out the door or against the wall. When you come back and do the other direction, you're not going to have as even of a line to see and to follow. That's why I just plant my feet and go back and forth so I don't lose my line, right? That way I'm not halfway through the floor and I'm like, well, did I miss an area? I also will overlap. If I'm not sure, I'll just overlap halfway and much safer, right? So who wants to try it? So the reason you're scraping is because when the flake lands, right, you're going to have flake landing and it's going to be in all different, you're going to have some that are standing up, some that are flat. And if they're standing up and then you encapsulate them with polyaspartic, you have little blades that now you just reinforced. And now someone's going to stab their foot or whatever. So you need to knock that down. You're not going to remove all this flake if your floor is cured enough, right? If it's not cured, then yeah, you might just scoop the whole thing right off and have a goopy mess. But you let it cure and then you're good. You finger test first and you're good to go. excuse me. That's an excellent idea. Why don't you pause for a second? Everybody should feel that side, and now feel this side. With just 2 passes, you will feel the difference. If you slide your fingers across, it's going to be grabbing you and stabbing you. That is what you're avoiding. If you encapsulate that and it's that sharp, they become blades. And you can actually cut your foot open. So if you're barefoot on this floor and you don't scrape it, it's not good. Yeah, you're good. You can stay off the wall like an inch so you don't gouge the caulking. So now you want to go this way. So I would press down like the weight of your arm. Give it like the weight of your arm. You hear the difference?
Yep. Where will you? Good night. All right.
I wouldn't step on that yet. It's pretty soft still. We put that a little thick. You can just come out a little bit, man. It'll be all right. Yeah, you can just skip the edge.
Oh, okay. All right. So can I start this lane, right?
Yeah, you can come in a little further if you need to. So that's something you run into in garages. There's like a weird corner or like a shelf or whatever, or some stairs. So I'll show you what I do with that.
So I can always use both sides of my blade.
You can. I usually try to stick to one side just for consistency's sake, but it's not really going to matter. Now, if you have a super used and abused blade and it's like bent or something, which you probably don't want to use if it's bent, but sometimes you forget the good one. Maybe that's all you got. You got to do what you got to do. Bald spots, you have to patch them. So we'll talk about patching. That's patching. The best thing you do is just get a consistent lay, so you don't have to do that. But if you have to, which inevitably at some point it's going to happen, and we'll talk about that. Just don't let me forget. So let's say we're under some stairs or whatever. I can't get my pole in here. I can't whatever. Excuse me. I'll just go diagonal. Maybe I'll just make sure I got multiple angles, even if it's not the 4 cardinal directions. So now it's all been hit technically 4 directions. I'm happy with that. Now I'm not going to sit there and like gouge that area, because then maybe I take it down a little bit, and the flake is either more smooth or I've knocked it down so hard that it's actually become smaller over there. So I don't want to create an inconsistency in my floor, but I do want to make sure I don't have any sharp edges, right? That's really the key, is no sharp edges. The whole point of flake broadcast is to have texture. It's 2 o'clock now? Okay. So let me vacuum real quick and then we'll talk about patching. You want to go ahead and mute my mic real quick?
So don't try to save mixture, just go ahead and vacuum it up. Don't try to.
Yeah,
mix up-
don't save any of this. Yeah, it's all different sizes, and then it's your calculation of coverage is going to be different and whatnot. So if you have a flake, which there is flakes you can get that are multiple sizes, they're not marble series, they're granite series maybe, something like that. But it's like 1/4 inch, and it's everything all the way down to like 1/16, maybe even a little smaller. It's like all different sizes. I don't even know. I mean, I could probably wing it and I'll be okay. But like, I know exactly what I get with this material and that material with this tool. I know what my average rate is going to be, my coverage. On something like that, it might take more or it might take less. It's going to be different, and I'm not using it all the time because it's not a common flake. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. And I wouldn't have enough of it from collecting these to even do a whole floor anyhow. So you collect all the good stuff, and then I throw away the rest. Could you keep it and use it? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's worth it. All right, is the mic back on? All right, so you guys see how much material is showing through? So that's not what you want, right? You don't want a lot. Unless it's a perfect match, it's not what you want. So in this scenario, I would actually do a double broadcast. I would put another layer down real thin and throw the same flick again, which we actually could do. We'll see, we might do that. Yeah. So really, you shouldn't be able to see almost anything through this. And it looks like it's consistently not doing that anywhere, right? So it's probably because we went too thin. So we need the other one, we need the clear. Aftershock. Oh. So if you guys noticed, in there in the garage, you don't see a lot of the base coat. That's what you're looking for. You are going to see some more times than not, but this is too much, right? Now, luckily, it is consistently doing it. The whole floor is showing a lot. So like I said, consistency is key. So if you mess something up, the whole thing needs to look like that, right? Usually it's the opposite. Usually someone's trying to go less than a full broadcast, and they accidentally throw a pile somewhere, and then it's all 80% somewhere, and then it's like 100 right here in this pile, and that looks dumb. I think 100% everywhere is the way to go all the time. I would never do anything other than that. Yeah, now we're gonna put a clear coat. Can you fix the tarp for me real quick though? Got a little squished. All right. Okay. And I grabbed another bucket. Where did I put it? Yeah, we'll just make the same size mix. I don't know, I had another bucket in my hand like a minute ago. There it is. All right, I found the bucket. I set it down and forgot about it. Okay. All right, so we want to get this old roller out of here. I brought you a new one. So I typically use a 3/8 snap. So what I like to use, we're going to do a 1/4 inch. And a lot of people use the flat flex blade, but we are also going to do something different. Where did I put that? Where did I put that window squeegee? Yes.
Snap is the same thing as white woven 3/8.
Yeah, 3/8 snap white woven would be. I mean, I pretty much use that on almost everything.
Okay.
It just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm trying to go thinner, or I'm worried about holding too much material or whatnot, then I might switch it up. So this here is a 1/4 inch nap white woven. Actually, that's not white woven. That is, what's that, the mohair? Either way, it'll be all right. This here is the window squeegee. These are like, I don't know, 10 bucks. These will pull it super tight. This is much, much tighter than the flat flex. The flat flex over here, It's like that, but without the notches. So this here, the 18-inch version of this is what I usually use. For years and years I use this, and because I like to go thicker. But realistically, if you're talking margins and getting consistencies and stuff like that, if you're fast enough, this is better. This would be better. Now, if you were a very slow squeegeer, then obviously a larger squeegeer would be better. You can go a lot faster with the flat flex, but if you can get it done with this window squeegee, the finish is nicer, right?
Okay.
So your goal is always going to be the nicest finish, the nicest product, right? So, but sometimes knowing what your guys can and cannot do will be the deciding factor on what you decide to do. All right, so who wants to be the mixer today? Need somebody to mix. All right. Let me get these out of the way here. This is the gray. So we'll do the same size mix as earlier, right here. So we'll do 1 quart and 2 quart, 1 to 1. So again, like I told you guys before, if you have a marker, I'll like circle it or something, as long as you don't cover up this line, or I'll make a mark, maybe like a dot here and a dot here, or a circle or whatever. And then you turn it so you're looking this way, it's a lot easier to see your line. We don't have a marker, so we'll probably do whichever way you want, whichever way you're comfortable doing it. Like this? Okay. So, yeah. This is the A, this is the B. Get these cleats out the way. So can anybody tell me why a double broadcast would be clear? We
You get those spots that you didn't get on the first layer, even out the floor a little bit more for those dips and valleys.
all correct, but also is I want to see the first layer. If I didn't care about the first layer, then I would just pigment it. But the whole point of, at least, the double broadcast I'm particularly mentioning would be the one where you want to see the first layer. You don't have to do that way. You could pigment every layer, honestly, but we're trying to see this blend of flake, and so the best thing you do is do a clear layer. So we're gonna do 90 seconds.
90 seconds?
90 seconds, or a minute and a half.
That one before. Right.
What's that?
That one before.
Yeah, we're going for here.
Okay. But okay.
It's still soft. It's still soft.
Okay.
We went really thick. So if you go thicker, it could take way longer to cure. And we went pretty thick. We could have gone even thicker than we did, but I'm not trying to do all that. I mean, we achieved crazy designs not going obscenely thick, so. You got a timer going? Cool. So make sure you get the sides up top too. Sure. Thank you, sir.
I should have gotten a smaller
Okay,
shirt.
you're good.
You probably want to wear boots too.
Oh, boots.
Like boots and you'll fit better. Plus, if you want something that's not like, if you spilled material on that, it's gonna go right to your sock. If I spill material on this, I mean, it still can go to my sock, but it has to either find one of these holes or go through my lace area.
Okay.
So boots are better. Plus, if you hit yourself with a grinder, which happens, you want to have boots on.
Okay.
And I've done that. I've straight hit myself in the knee. I've had a buddy who actually hit himself in the shin and took a chunk of bone out. He wasn't using a shroud though, so like he was just free balling the blade in the open, making dust clouds, and yeeted himself. All right, who wants to pour? Anybody want to pour? Here. There you go. If you got wall, like a concrete stem wall, it's perfect. You just kick the wall. There you are, sir. Yeah, you can do extra, and then I'll show you guys how to get it off the floor, but we'll need some gloves for that. So if you have too much material, which hopefully we have too much this time, I can show you guys what to do with that. I need a bucket though. We'll just use the same bucket. But we need to put some, yeah. So, you want some gloves? So you just gotta be careful when you're pushing with a flat squeegee that it doesn't grab the flake and start flicking it, because you'll flick it onto the wall. You can push it, you just gotta be careful is all. So, but I would push it right up near here, I would push it along the wall, and then I would pull it to make sure you close the gap, and then to pull all the material out. So like all this right here is dry. You wanna, if you need to, just push the puddle right into this frame, and then it'll kind of ooze back and lay back down, and then you can pull it out. And then when you're pulling, I push down a little bit. Apply some pressure.
Why are we using this tiny one?
So you can get a better finish with this. It's gonna pull it tighter than the flex. So the flex is easier and faster, but it's not gonna, it's gonna leave more material behind it. And the key is to leave as little as possible. Inevitably, you're gonna have material in between all the flakes, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have a decent amount of material down regardless of what you do. This is how you get less.
So Jeremy, we wanna leave as little material down as possible, but we didn't leave enough down.
So on the last coat, the floor was, yeah, we can get a brush. Actually, I don't have any brushes out here. So, yeah, you can squeegee it. So on the last coat, I think we didn't have enough, but we were going over a very irregular floor. So the last layer that I took off was like, especially over here, was super wonky. It wasn't tacky, it was like highs and lows, and there was like a big trench right here, and over there was a couple lumps. So I mean, sometimes it's gonna happen, and that would be the reason you have to go over a floor. You just want to get it flatter than we did, and you want to get rid of all the shiny. So, but I was kind of rushing it because we needed to get this down so you guys could see this stage here. Can I show you something real quick? So, can I see the cleats real quick? So he did really good getting all this, but then you want to go back and you want to apply a good amount of pressure. See how much I'm grabbing? Right? Like, I don't want any puddling at all if I can avoid it. And if I can, I'll always start my squeegee on the edge, right? I mean, yeah, my roller guy, so I set it down right here, I'm probably gonna leave a line, leave a squeegee line, right? My roller, his job is to come back and fix all that, right? But I don't have to leave him a mess to clean. So I'm gonna go set it down in here, pull across, and then I'm gonna come down, right? I'm gonna clean my lines as I go if I can, but I'm gonna pull it super tight. And I don't think it's helping that this floor is sloped that way because the puddle keeps going back that way. But, and then down. Now, then the rollers can come back and clean. You can see thicker spots and stuff like that. If I don't roll that quickly, it's gonna stay like that. And then you'll have an inconsistent sheen across your floor. They might not see it when they're standing on it, but they're gonna open the door and look out the garage and it's gonna be like, and the customer's gonna be like, what in the world is that? So, now, if you have a really good squeegeer and a really good back roller, you don't even need the cross roll. But that takes some practice. So in all likelihood, you're probably gonna wanna have a cross roller. All right, help myself out, come down the edge, do my line. If I pour a whole bunch, it's gonna come back, and I'm gonna grab that out in a minute, right? All right, so who wants to finish this?
I'll try. But you say I have to be careful because it'll get on my socks.
If you slop it on your shoe, it'll go right through your shoe. Those shoes are like breathable, like running shoes or something, so.
Not quite like walking on heels.
All right, so I'm gonna take this puddle here. I'm gonna wet the roller. All right, this roller's not gonna hold a lot. Right, the 3/8 snap will hold approximately, a theoretical 16 ounces. This will hold. I mean, if it was a white woven, I would say, a little bit less than that. But this is like a mohair or something, so I'm not gonna try to guess that.
Can I go back and hit it right here?
Yeah, you can go back and forth. As long as you're quick about it, the back roller is going to clean this up. Now, if you're super slow and you're just playing with it, and like 15 minutes go by, the back roller is not going to be able to fix things.
Am I standing wrong? I feel like
No, you're doing good. It's just a weird squeegee to use. It's really tiny. It takes some practice. So the best thing you can do is pull the puddle. So like over here, all your puddle is there, and you have nothing here. So you want to take as much of that over and kind of spread it evenly across your bead there. Yeah. Perfect. So as you're going back and forth, you should have a decent amount of material going back and forth. All right. You want to roll? So you can do the W's again. This is a 1/4 inch.
Wet the roller?
Yes. Yeah, I wet the roller over there.
Oh, you already did.
Yes.
Only that, right?
I can step out of here.
Yeah, you're gonna do the W's. I would probably go as far as here. I probably wouldn't go further. She needs to pull that thick spot there if she can. So if he's quick, you'll see the lines disappearing, right? You can? Good. If he does not roll it in time, there will still be lines. Now, my rule of thumb for the roller on a typical garage would be 1.5 pole lengths for the roller. He needs to go out, so that's like what, 12 feet or so? He needs to go out. So let's say I'm doing, 2-foot passes, or let's say, okay, so you have an 18-inch squeegee. We'll use numbers from the larger squeegees because most of the squeegees, this little type of base coats, it'll apply to all the squeegeeing except for this exact squeegee, right? So if I have 18 inches pass, every time I go back forth, it's 18 inches approximately, unless I'm overlapping halfway. So every 2 passes is like this far, right? I need to reach into the previous pass with my roller. So if he just squeegeed this, and now he's here, and then as soon as he gets to here, I'm rolling here, I need to make sure, let's say I've already rolled this, I need to go into that and then as far as I can, all right? If I don't, I'm not taking the excess material and spreading it out. The whole point of the roller is to not only get rid of lines where there's a squeegee line from squeegeeing or from setting it down or whatever, or a thick spot, but then there's the bird baths. All the low spots might have little puddles. The roller is going to grab that excess material and lay it out across the high spots.
Because I got a big puddle right
Yeah, are you finished? Okay, yeah. So yeah, keep rolling. Keep rolling real quick. You can go ahead and roll the whole thing.
Can I take only the right?
I would probably just avoid this. I would probably roll all that and leave this here, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys, because I'm gonna ruin the roller here once to get rid of that. And then you would take the squeegee to your mixer and have them mix and clean it. So if you can, I would go almost all the way to the end. Like I was saying, you want to have like a 12-foot reach.
Yeah.
And if you're doing things and the roller has to stop and he has to go grab something, maybe he needs to grab the next kit because the cutter's cutting and the squeegee guy's like, oh, I'm about to run out. I can't stop. I need to keep squeegeeing. The next mix needs to be poured for me or whatever. Or maybe his cleat came off. If he sets that roller down, he might have, not only is the material going to leave that roller and make a line, it might even indent the roller which I mentioned earlier. So be cognizant of that. And you also need to be aware that you might push a puddle into an edge.
What is this?
Yeah, so right here we have all this extra material.
Yep.
So I'm going to make a big mess and show you what I would do. It's a lot more effective with the 3/8 snap, but I should be able to achieve an almost similar goal with this. So I'm just going to try to collect all this material, right? And hopefully I don't destroy this too bad. You see it started getting real thick. I'm literally going to have to wring this out. There's a tool on a 5-in-1 that's probably more convenient than this, but this is faster. And when you're in the middle of a floor, you don't always have the tools, right? So I'm going to boom, and then I'm going to keep doing that. Soak up some more material because I got too much. If I leave that, it'll be really thick and slippery and nasty, right? I don't want that. I'm gonna have to re-roll this because I'm only going so far and I don't want to leave lines, right? But I'm gonna soak up what I can. It's still pretty thick there, right? Much better to do with a 5-gallon bucket for sure. 230? All right. You guys see how it's fixing that super thickness that I had going on? Or let's say I'm standing on the driveway right now and I have this puddle and I'm just squeegeeing it back because it's trying to run out the garage, right? I don't want that. If it runs onto the driveway, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. I don't want to have to buy the new driveway. I don't want to resurface it or whatever. So, and there's other ways. There's some people who will tape a trash bag to the apron and then squeegee into that. It just depends on your situation. Go ahead and, you want to roll it again real quick? Just boom.
Same space?
Yep, I would go all the way to the end. Across the whole thing, boom. And since you guys did such a quick job, and we have just, I mean, everything is consistent, we don't even need to cross roll right now. Unless he leaves lines right now, we won't need to cross roll. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Probably get another glove. Where are the gloves at? I'm probably gonna watch out, dude. You're stepping in some poly here. I made such a mess. Apologize for that. Yeah, very consistent. Just gonna wipe this up.
So now for...
So if you're holding it there, you're gonna end up making a mark, so just be careful of that. Yeah, if you're done,
Like this, right?
if you need to. If you don't need to, then you don't. So if it looks perfect, which right now it's almost perfect, it's still actually pretty thick right here. I didn't even get it all. Maybe I spent too long talking. That's probably what happened. But if it looks like that on majority of the floor, and I'm like, you know what, I want to just cross roll it anyway, I'm probably going to make lines. So if it looks like that, and I'm like, wow, it's all the same, there's no thick spots, there's no lines, there's no nothing. If it looks perfect, then leave it alone. You can absolutely achieve a beautiful floor with just squeegeeing and just back rolling. You just got to be quick about it. Quick and have consistency. Once you and your guys have a flow going, you've done enough floors, you will be like, okay, he's going to do this, and it's going to take him this long, and I'm over here doing whatever I'm doing. You're going to realize that, and you're going to be like, okay, these are the mistakes he makes, and you keep an eye on, and then you'll start to notice, all right, he's about to do that, and then you're already ready to fix his whatever he's doing, so he doesn't have to stop. You know, your cutter, if your cutter's super effective, your cutter's going to be fixing all the things all the time, right? So we can actually put that on, we can just lay on the tarp on this side here, and then it'll just drip on the tarp.
About this way.
I should have had a tarp here. It's always good practice to have a tarp between your truck or trailer and your project. You know, the more tarps, the more plastic, the more protective things you have out to protect your surroundings, the better. Then you don't have to be wiping things up like this. Did I get it all?
That wraps it up, mate.
Yeah? All right, so you guys see right here, right along that edge, it's super thick. Yeah, it's like that, but if you're not talking and trying to show somebody something, you'll probably handle that beforehand, but something like that might happen anyway. You're just going, and I didn't see that until just now. You know, standing over here, the angle, I didn't see that. I didn't see it until I walked right here. But theoretically, if I'm in a garage, there's a wall to here, right? So I wouldn't even see that anyway until the next day, and I come back to check on this. Then I find that. That's probably, there's a very good chance that might turn cloudy. That's a lot of material. That's ugly. So you want to avoid things like that. Now, right now, I can probably still fix that with a brush. I can kind of try to spread it out. The whole area will still be thick, but it's going to happen.
But never try to dab that up with a paper towel.
You could. It just depends on how far. If the floor's getting tacky and sticky, like if the roller starts making noise, it's too late.
Okay.
It's too late. No, the more you mess with it, the more you're probably going to mess it up. You know. Now there's exceptions to that rule. You know, with spraying solvents, blah blah blah. We're not going to even get into any of that. You can do things to do what you got to do, but I would not. I would just say, just pay attention as you're going, and just try not to let that happen. You know, if you have a person cutting, then you don't even need to touch the edges, right? I had a guy go around. We already had a guy go hit the brush. You know, he had a little cup going all around, and he went ahead of us. So maybe he started at the back, or maybe I just squeegeed the back, and then he starts going down the side, hitting the stem walls or whatever he's got to do, and then he's hitting the areas here by the garage door, and he's done, and he's, you know, cleaning up, or he's helping things, or he's looking around, looking for puddles while I'm finishing, right? Your roller is really going to be your guy who's going to see most of the things and he's the one trying to fix most of the things. So if you have a big project and you have enough people, you'll have two rollers. You'll have a back roller and a cross roller. So this is a really tiny area. We did not even need to cross roll, like at all. Like that's a pretty consistent finish. There's a bit of a line here, and then obviously we have that there, but we kind of did that on purpose. And then we have some thickness here. So those are all things you want to avoid. But back here looks good, all here looks good, and everything in the middle pretty much looks pretty good.
I know with the side, because of the way that roller is, you couldn't get up against it.
Correct. That's another reason you have a cutter. The cutter's going to come off a few inches. You know, you can establish how far you want your cutter to come off. You know, maybe he gets a bigger brush. Generally, I do like 2-3 inches is perfect. You know, if I have a 2-inch brush, I'll maybe have him come out, you know, a brush and a half or 2 brushes worth. So I mean, that's up to like 4 inches. Anything beyond that depends on how much he has to cut. If he's like got a billion edges, just wet 1 brush width. Just stay ahead of me, because if he's falling behind me, you know, unless I'm leaving puddles like that, which I'm usually squeegeeing so good, and I'm really taking my time. That's the only instance I take a lot of time on the floor with a squeegee, is when I'm doing my edge. I'm slapping it up in there, getting it wet, and then I'm coming back and I'm pulling it out nice and slow and making sure I don't leave a puddle. Then my roller guy, all he has to do is worry about the middle of the floor, really. He doesn't even need to hit the edges. You know, that's the less things that each person is trying to focus on, the better. and it's kind of a flow you'll establish. Does that make sense? So I mean, when you're using a brush, you should have enough material that you're pushing a small puddle. Now with a poly, well, I'm not just with poly, I guess with epoxy too, it's sticky enough that you can spread it. As long as you're going back and forth, you're going to keep grabbing and it's going to pull itself. These materials are so sticky, I guess you could say, that they're going to want to stick to themselves or want to pull to themselves. So if I'm going back and forth, it's going to grab and it get a little bit over here, and then every time I go over that, it's going to take from this thick spot and it's going to start putting it on this thinner spot. It's going to like pull itself off the brush or off the roller or whatever. So, but like I mentioned before with the burn lines, let's say it's more important on this layer specifically at the burn lines. If I ran out of material here, let's say this little square is like 600 feet, right? This is a good sized garage, and I mixed up, you know, X amount of gallons. Let's say it was a kit, and I only got to like here or whatever, right? If before I run out of material here, let's say I actually don't even have a bead anymore, I pulled it flat, I should have asked for material when I was here. I should have been like, hey, go start another mix. And then by the time I even get to here, my dude's running over, pours right on that bead. So when you pour wet on wet. Don't pour the new mix onto dry, ever. You pour onto wet. I almost forgot to say that. I can't believe that. So pour onto wet, and then I just don't even stop. I just don't stop. If you stop, burn line. Burn lines are hideous. Now, there's also the aspect I mentioned earlier, I think either on this first layer or yesterday, where if this material here is nice and set up and then this is fresh and I roll into this, there is a chance I create a burn line as well. So I'm not taking from here anymore. If I'm reaching too far back because maybe I'm going too slow or whatever, I'm not taking, I'm manipulating it, but I'm not taking any off. And then I roll right into fresh material. Maybe my roller's a little dry. It's going to soak that up. And now I didn't see the line, but you know, if I was standing back watching guys work and I see the line where the new mix starts, and as soon as that roller comes over, I could draw you that line before he does it, and you would see it.
It's a burn line then.
It's very difficult. So you could add more material and go back into it, but you need to continue going. And then when you get to, let's say here, I would need to pour more and squeegee back over all that and come back. It's not easy to do. The best thing you can do is just not have a burn line. You need to have the mixes on time coming to you and just get it done. Get it all done as long as so the squeegee needs to be fast. The cutter can be slow. If the cutter absolutely has to, if you cannot squeegee and back roll fast enough, then the cutter can go cut afterward. That can be, you know, finessed to blend. If anything, it's on the outside anyway. The center of your floor is what everyone's looking at. That's what's catching the eye. You know what I'm saying? So you can fix the edge later, let's say, or just do the edge later if you absolutely have to. I would not necessarily recommend that, but if you have to cut something to fix something else and then handle the other thing later, that would be my answer. So I would say have the fastest people, the most attention to detail people squeegeeing and rolling. And then the guy who's still learning, the new guy or whatever, is absolutely never mixing, he's cutting. So the guy that's never done anything more, I just hired him yesterday. All right, man, here's this brush. Don't leave it thick, but everything needs to be wet looking. That's it. That would be his goal. Make it look wet. I don't care if it's a little thick, a little thin. It needs to look wet. And you know, don't be under someone's feet on the cleats so they don't trip on you and fall on the floor. That would be their goal.
You want to wrap up YouTube? I'll go.
Yeah.
Just say we're done.
There was something I asked you to remind me of. It was something to do with business. I don't remember. I asked you. There was something I wanted to talk about to you guys. I don't remember either. I'll probably remember here in a couple minutes. We can go ahead and just cut off the YouTube. It's probably good for now.
Bye-bye. ceremony is ending.
All right. So I do